Hey everyone, this is Uncanny Derek Comics, and here is Uncanny X-Men number 129, 130, 131. If we look a little bit closer, we're going to notice that all three of these barcodes are a little different. Guess what we're going to talk about today? So there are two different types of books that are out there. There are direct editions and there's newsstand editions. And what is the difference between the two? Well, obviously newsstand editions, they are ones that are sold at newsstands. Comic books sold at newsstands mean drugstores, convenience stores, department stores, whatever types of books they are. They are sold there. And then direct editions are ones that are sold directly to the comic book store. And so they had these different barcodes to make different ways to track inventory of the comic books. So the newsstand editions were strictly barcodes. They are ones that are like this Uncanny X-Men 130. That's just traditional barcode. You wouldn't think anything of it. Then we have issue 129 and 131. 129 is a little bit of an earlier issue, but once before it also had these crossouts through the barcodes. And then later on, you'll see they have the Spider-Man head there. Batman would have the Batman logo there instead. And these direct editions went directly to the comic book stores, and they were not allowed to be returned, whereas newsstand editions could. So the bigger stores, such as, we'll say Sears or something, they would be able to return their comic books back to the publisher, get a little bit of a credit, and then be able to buy books again because they had bigger buying power. These other books that were direct editions, they were stuck. The dealers were stuck with them, and so once they bought them, they were stuck. But that means that they got the books a little bit of a better discount, which is why they could not return them. Now, the difference with why we're even talking about this and the relevance to any of this is that newsstand editions are arguably a little bit more desirable and a great quality in comparison to a direct edition. And so what I mean by that is if you look at the sales between direct and newsstand edition comic books, you'll find that the newsstand editions for, say a CGC version 9.8, a newsstand version of that book will sell for more than a direct edition copy of that book. And it's solely because chances of finding a newsstand edition at a great quality is very tough, because direct edition books sold to the comic book stores, they would have been treated with a lot more care. They would have been more likely to be bagged and boarded, whereas direct edition books, newsstand edition books, they would have been found more at a spinner rack. You'd find them in a magazine stand. They would have been treated like crap. So actually, I have a copy here of the Amazing Spider-Man number 36. This is the black issue. I picked this up back when I was in high school. This is a newsstand edition, as you can tell by the barcode on it. The direct edition doesn't have a barcode at all. This book here is the 9/11 issue, and it's, story aside, it's actually a pretty valuable book as a newsstand edition. Now mine, when I bought it in high school, I didn't know the difference between the two, nor did I really care. I just wanted this book. And so that book is, as a newsstand, is actually more desirable and sells for more than the one that is considered a direct edition, because finding books like that at a good quality is difficult. And then you also have books like Ultimate Fallout 4, that's the first Miles Morales. Those books specifically, you'll find newsstand editions of those available, and they go for astronomical prices because, pandemic bubble of comic books, we're not going to get into that. But those books, newsstand editions, go for quite a bit. And then when you get into variant copies of the books as well, so you take that Marco Jurdovic variant of Ultimate Fallout 4, and there's a newsstand edition of that. It's a rare book on top of a rare book in a high quality. Those things go for astronomical prices for whatever reason. And by whatever reason, I don't mean in the sense that there's no explanation for why these go. Like, they are desirable books. They're just very tough to come by. And so there's those types of books that exist. And if you do have a newsstand copy of any of your comic books, they are considered more desirable. That doesn't always mean that they will sell for more. Like, you take a lot of comic books from the 80s, they probably will not sell that drastically different than a direct edition copy of them, because there's still millions of books out there. Like, say X-Men number 1 from the 90s. There's literally millions of copies of that book out there, newsstand or direct. Don't expect much difference from them. Or Death of Superman as well. Don't expect much difference from those. But other types of books that exist out there that may not have barcodes, there's two other books I want to cover. One are toys. So you'll find that, and I'll have a photo right here of Shadows of the Empire toy that I can think of. These were comic books that were sold along with toys. And these were technically they don't have barcodes, so you'd assume they're a direct edition, which in a way they are, but they are technically not even a comic book, so to speak. You'll find that it's tough to find what those books are called in the medium. We do have some companies that will say that they are a comic book. Other ones find that they get facilitated under a toy because they are packaged with a toy. So are they a comic book? I would say yes, but they aren't complete. Usually they're just like kind of partial of a story. And of course they aren't distributed like a comic book. So are they comic books? Tough to say. The other one I want to talk about are Whitman variants. Now, Whitman variants are even rarer, and they are kind of a weird version of a direct and newsstand edition. They are a comic book that came out at the time of the direct editions being formed, those barcodes changing, and you'll find I'll have some photos here of a comparison between them. This is with a Superman comic. You'll see that one has a barcode, and one has a picture of Superman. And the difference here is that one's a Whitman variant, and you can't really tell the difference unless you know what you're looking for. And essentially Whitman variants were direct edition comic books that were bagged with a few other books and sold directly to department stores. And these books, because they were sold directly to a supplier, and there's a much deeper story that I have in my blog that I will link in the comments below. Essentially, these books are considered direct editions that were sent to the newsstand edition businesses, but because they are a weird loophole of being a direct in a newsstand, and also that they're just rare to find in high quality, they're usually considered more expensive than newsstand variants on their own. They are tough to come by, like I said, and on top of that, they didn't have a big run. So there's not many out there. They only existed for a few years. Both Marvel and DC had it going on. So if you find any Whitman variants out there, congratulations. And because everybody loves a list, I have here my top 5 favorite newsstand variants that I have in my hands. So one of them is the Dazzler, well, additional 5. So one of them was the Dazzler that I had pulled out earlier. And I mean, the Amazing Spider-Man I have is pretty decent to have. I'm not too thrilled about it. Like, I have other better books, so I'll show you what they are. One is Uncanny X-Men number 164. This is the first appearance of Binary. This is, Miss Marvel changing up, and Binary being mentioned in the most recent Marvels movie as well. I know this book upticked a little bit in terms of pricing, but I'm not going to sell it. But, decent book to have for a newsstand variant. Next up is Spider-Woman number 1. This is with her new origin story. This is, she had a version of herself that existed just before this, so they revamped the character and gave her hair out of her costume, and yeah, that's the newsstand variant for Spider-Man number 1. This next one I actually got recently. This is Star Wars 40, and this is the Empire Strikes Back adaptation, and the reason why I like this is, it's Star Wars. What's the big deal? I grew up with loving the Rogue Squadron books, and this is the first appearance of Rogue Squadron. So having this book, it just has a lot of sentimental value to me, and of course being a really near mint newsstand edition, great to have. Second last is Daredevil 181. I found this for a couple bucks years and years and years ago, and I didn't even realize it was a newsstand variant until I got home with it because it was just a couple bucks. I'm like, hey, why not? And so yeah, newsstand variant of Daredevil 181. In this issue, somebody dies. Spoiler alert, it was Elektra, but it's comic book, so nobody stays dead forever. And lastly, this is Uncanny X-Men 133. This is that really awesome Wolverine cover where he finally gets his chance to shine. This book is just usually well loved because of this cover. It's really his first foray into kicking some butt. So yeah, those are my top 5 favorite newsstand comics that I do own. So that's it for me. Hope you liked the video. Please like and subscribe. If you have any ideas for further videos, please send them in the comments below. Again, I will have a link to my blog that I wrote up years ago about this topic of newsstands versus direct editions in the comments below. Please check that out for more explanation about Whitman and toys. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next video.